Good evening, ladies and gentlefolk, and welcome to another episode of The Tales from Dougherty Street. I'm Kathleen Cassie Dougherty, and I'll be your tour guide on this evening's journey through the treacherous highways and byways that are the tales from Dougherty Street. The Tales from Dougherty Street. Episode 1. Daddy's Chop Leg Shop. It is an unseasonably warm day in December, in an undisclosed year of the previous century. I am 4 years old, and my father, clad in his buckskin jacket, is out in the front yard chopping wood, and I, Daddy's girl that I was at that time, am with him. We usually got about a cord of wood every year for the winter fireplace. It's one of the things I miss most about living in Kansas, being able to afford a home with a fireplace. Ah, yes, fire. It is a Sunday, and the Dougherty family have begun this Sunday in the way in which the Dougherty family has become accustomed to starting their Sundays. That's 9:30 Mass at Good Shepherd Catholic Church, and this would be followed by the traditional trip to Denny's for breakfast, but only if nobody cried in church. I'm looking at you! Cassie! Yes, if nobody cried in church, this was followed by the traditional breakfast trip to Denny's, at which I always got spaghetti and meatballs, precisely because it made the waitress with the piled high hair and the silver eyeshadow laugh every time. Spaghetti and meatballs? For breakfast? Are you sure? Oh, sweet, nutritious laughter. Yes, it is a Sunday. And that can mean only one thing, baby. That the economy-size bottle of Dougherty St, which normally makes its first appearance of the day sometime after dinner, has already popped its top by the time the church clothes are back in the closet and has slowly been emptying itself all day. Yes, it is Sunday, and the paper has been read from its front page to its much passed around comics. This week's big game has been watched on the good TV and duly yelled at. And now we're in the front yard, chopping the winter wood. I've often wondered what we look like to some passerby in a car, let's say a green Chevy Nova. The small but muscular man with a handlebar mustache, hurling that axe in mighty and confident arcs, slamming it down into the logs, sending fragrant wood chips flying through the crisp autumn air, all the while bathed in the warm glow of admiration emanating from the tiny ginger child gazing up at him. It was that sneaky sort of autumn day where the sun sort of tiptoes over the horizon and you don't really notice that it's gone down as the sky becomes almost imperceptibly darker and darker and darker and darker. I can hear the sound of the axe now. Whiz! Ka-chunk! They say if you're Irish or of Irish descent, whiz! Ka-chunk! Always hated that phrase of Irish descent. Whiz! Ka-chunk! Like being an Irish American is somehow an evolutionary step down from being Irish. Whiz! Ka-chunk! Anyway, if you're Irish or of Irish descent, they say you're probably part Viking. Whiz! Ka-chunk! And now the Vikings had these special warriors that they called berserkers. Whiz! Now, I don't know if it was the Dougherty St or how dark it had become, but my father had somehow managed to sink that axe head halfway into the meaty part of his own calf. For one impossibly long moment, we both stared at it, transfixed. And then with just a bare flutter of his left eyelid, he pulled it out. Blood shot out of that wound like a bad special effect in an old Roger Corman film. I did what any sensible 4-year-old would do. I began to scream with hysterical abandon. Ah! My father turned and walked into the house, axe inexplicably still dangling from his hand as he pushed open the screen door, shouting my mother's name. "Oh, Marianne?" With just a bare hint of agitation, like he'd lost his keys or something. My mom came running down the stairs. "Oh, God! Mike! We better call an ambulance." No, I'm fine. "Well, at least let me drive you to the clinic." "No, I told you I'm fine. Psst, 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 psst. Finally, after several minutes of arguing back and forth, it was decided that, okay, we'll go to the clinic, but only if he could drive. I've often wondered what we looked like. Let's say to that same Chevy Nova, this time pulled up next to us at a stoplight. The wide-eyed and unnaturally silent children in the back seat. The beautiful but grim-faced woman sitting in the passenger side. And the man driving, pale, sweating profusely, white-knuckling the blood-smeared steering wheel, eyes lightly glazed but ever forward, as if into eternity. And so, that was the Christmas that my father literally went berserk on himself. And henceforward, whenever we passed that clinic, I would stand up in the car seat, for children were allowed to do such in those days, and yell, "There goes Daddy's chop leg shop!" And everyone would laugh. Oh, Cassie. Oh, and another fine Dougherty family tradition was born. I'm Kathleen Cassie Dougherty, and you've been listening to another episode of The Tales from Dougherty Street.